Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello everybody and welcome to Houselights, specifically House of Cameron. Today we're talking about Avatar, James Cameron's last film to date of this recording, and so our last realm of House of Cameron. And I am so excited to talk today about Avatar because this was for a very long time the top grossing film of all time. And now, did it come back, guys? Like, did it I can't remember. Is it Endgame or is it Avatar today? I feel like it switches every day.
Endgame, I think.
I think Endgame took it, and then Endgame was re-released, or
No,
was it Avatar
was
that was re-released?
Either way,
You can't pop a question on us without prep, Tristan. That's a low blow, but yeah.
Come on, man.
Well, for those of you who are wondering who those voices are, you shouldn't be wondering because they've been with me every single time during this journey through Cameron. Darren, Moser, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I'm ready. We're in the Avatar season, which we've been in since 2009, and maybe we'll revisit that wonderful planet. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one. And you know, it's interesting when we started doing Cameron, and you get excited and you want to watch all those movies, but you want to wait until it's like right before you talk about it, so it doesn't get all like muddled together. So I've been eagerly waiting to watch this one again because it had been a while. So I'm looking forward to talking about it.
And also with us is John Mills. John, are you all tingly with excitement to talk about Avatar? I mean, are you like, are you so excited it's like that first time you rode that six-legged horse? Or are you so excited that it's like that first time you rode that lizard raptor?
I'm so excited that I actually bought a new chair to sit in. It's made of unobtainium. It's a very exclusive chair and very expensive, but worth every penny.
Now, John, is unobtainium hard to get?
My question is unobtainium not hard to get? Because apparently there's plenty of it in Pandora. So maybe we should go over there with some bulldozers and go get it. I'm just saying.
Well, you know, if you need to go into the core of our planet, it's also very useful.
Yes, it's true. True. Yeah, not enough people talk about the core, or maybe I should rephrase that. Just enough people talk about the core.
I am one of those people, as you know. It's a fun, guilty pleasure for sure.
All right. Well, I am excited to talk about this film. This had the most hype out of any film that I can honestly remember. There was so much hype surrounding this film. It was, you know, like with every trailer, it was like, oh my God, like look at the CGI, look at the textures, look at the technical achievement, what's going on here. And like James Cameron was really hyping it up. The 3D was hyped up. Like this hit at a critical moment in our entertainment culture for 3D to really just start to soar. And Darren, I want to know, how did you first see this film and what were you thinking when you walked out?
Well, it was definitely in theaters. I mean, 2009 for sure, and which is a fair step past 97. I mean, he's working on this a while. But, you know, that's when Cameron often brings his best work, is when it's a passion project, when it's something that he's really interested in. Maybe he's more interested in the technology than the story. Maybe the story is as good as we remember. But no, I remember seeing this in theater. And yeah, I remember the hype. It was, you know, because it's, like 2009. So the Star Wars movies are over because you've had the prequels done in like 2005. Yeah. So, and Harry Potter is still a thing, but it's, you know, you need that other flavor in December, because December is really coming out to be this new blockbuster time. It's not just summer, as, you know, we would later get Star Wars, you know, coming in December as well. But yeah, I remember seeing it. I saw it, I think, a couple of times. I did see it in 3D. I mean, 3D never really did it for me. It was fun and interesting, but it wasn't it's like all those commercials where they literally come out of the screen. Like, they don't really come out of the screen. You know, it's not holodeck. I've experienced holodeck on TNG, and it's not that. But But no, it was, yeah, we talked last time about Titanic being a movie that people saw and then you wanted to see it with other people and share the experience. And I'm wondering if that was the same reasoning, because obviously a lot of people went and saw this movie. It made like over almost $3 billion. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I do remember seeing it and then purchasing it on Blu-ray as was tradition.
John.
Definitely saw it in the movie theater. I remember we were on vacation visiting my in-laws, and they had seen it, and they couldn't stop raving about how neat it was to see in 3D and everything. Now, I will mention my in-laws, of course, were alive when 3D first became a thing many decades ago, so maybe it was a trip down memory lane. And they had forgotten that the 80s had a slight resurgence with it too, but whatever. And they couldn't, they was, oh, wow, it's so neat. You got to go see it. And I'd seen the commercials and I was sort of, I was ambivalent. I was like, oh, okay, I don't know. It looks neat-ish, but okay. Like I was just skeptical about the entire experience. We went to the movie theater. It was, just a local movie theater where they were living. The presentation was suboptimal. Let's put it that way.
Oh, that's too bad.
The screen was too dark for 3D to really work. And I mean, I thought it was fine. And I remember my wife was wowed as her parents had been wowed by the technology and everything. And I was the one sort of sticking on other aspects of it. I mean, I agree that the effects and technology, and I came out of there and I heaped all of the appropriate amount of praise on it, but I didn't come out of it like stopping people saying, you got to see this. This is amazing. I was like, yeah,
take my money, go see it right now.
Yeah, please, everybody in line right now. I will buy your tickets to make sure you go see this. No, and it was. I just remember it wasn't exactly the same, but it was reminiscent of another. I'll just pull a random time when everybody was raving about The English Patient, and I saw The English Patient, and I was that one guy that came out and said, yes, okay. And I learned to keep my mouth shut for a little while after that. Although I did remember that while it was in the theaters, that it was the toys in the Target where I lived, the toys were on clearance. And I always thought that was the oddest thing, that here's this movie making money hand over fist while the toys are sitting on the shelves on clearance. And it just had this weird thing for me where I was like, what is the disconnect here? Because I'm so used to the idea that movie huge hit, toys flying off the shelves, empty pegs. And instead, they're overflowing with Avatar toys and they're all marked down. And I'm like, this doesn't line up with me. And I've never figured out that audience disconnect.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I don't remember many Titanic ship sinking toys in 97. But
now, different type of experience, and it. I mean, it's like, Avatar was made, it's got the visual flair.
It has a
the
kid
cool
aspect
creatures,
for sure. Yeah,
it definitely has that.
It can translate to toys very well. I don't actually remember seeing any toys. I don't remember it. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I don't remember it. So it didn't leave an impression. Well, my presentation when I first saw it was amazing. Like I was absolutely blown away. I saw it in IMAX 3D. And did you guys see it in IMAX 3D at all?
I think I did see at least one IMAX. I saw it probably 3 or 4 times over the first 2 months or so because it was really enjoyable.
I saw it in real IMAX and 3D, and I was like, it was a big ass screen. It was fantastic, great presentation. I was blown away. Like I'd never experienced 3D like that before, and since, honestly, like I've gone to a few 3D films since then, just a few, not usually by choice. Sometimes it's like, oh God, this is the only showing I can go to and I need to see this right now, like that kind of thing. But man, like Avatar's 3D really, really wowed me. I was really thinking like we were going to, like, once I saw that in 2009, I was just like, oh, this what 3D movies are going to look like now. And boy, was I disappointed almost immediately when I saw future 3D movies in 2010. But yeah, like I was when this movie started coming out, like I was just so utterly jazzed. Like I would download the trailers in the highest possible resolution that I could from appletrailers.com or whatever it was, and trying to get that 1080p, and then just like go through frame by frame going like, oh my God, like look at the makeup on Zoe Saldana's CGI, face. It's just, this is crazy. The texture, the feeling, the lighting. I was like, man, this is mind blowing. And so like I went into it just thinking like this was going to be like the biggest technical achievement, and it was. So I was, and like you, Darren, I saw it more than a few times after that. Like I saw it in regular 3D. I saw it in 2D just for kicks.
Did you see it in 1D? I mean,
I read the novel. It was
to
crazy.
round out the trilogy.
And it's just like I remember like I was telling a friend of mine who's an absolute snob when it comes to movies, and he's a cinematographer in the technology behind movies. I told him, I was like, hey man, I got Avatar on Blu-ray. I was like, I got it like on day one. He's like, well, that's silly. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, why would you watch it if it's not on an IMAX screen in 3D? Like, and he was genuinely serious. I'm like, you know what? Go screw yourself.
The time of your life that you're able to watch Avatar has come and gone. As it sunsets into the past, we'll just remember it in fond memories, but dare not besmirch the memory with newfangled Blu-ray tech. Really? That's how he was going for?
That was almost like, it's like you were there, Darren. It's crazy. He was 100% serious. 100% serious.
So am I the only person on the planet that only saw it once in the movie theater?
You might be. You're the reason why I didn't reach 3 billion.
You know what? And as I've come to understand, that means that I don't care enough. And I apologize to everybody out in the audience that I didn't help push it over the edge. I've been atoning ever since.
Well, looking it up, it is number one again. You were right, okay. Tristan. It was overtaken by Endgame in 2019, but the re-release has pushed it to $2.84 billion. Oh my
gosh.
That's
insanity.
We could almost buy our own ship for that.
That's more than I make in a year, guys. That's crazy. All right. So I want to talk about, before we get into some other stuff, let's talk about the obvious greatness of the film. And I'm not trying to lead the conversation, because there are some downsides. I'm not just like some sort of fanboy. But I want to talk about the obvious greatness, and that is the technical achievements. So when you guys think Avatar, and you think the technical achievements, whether it's the CGI, whether it's the mocap, whether it's the lighting, the 3D itself, like the 3D presentation, or whatever it is. Like, John, what do you think? Like, when you are thinking when somebody says we're in a post-Avatar world, what pops into your brain?
We've hit the point where environments can be indistinguishable from reality at this point. Like, a created environment can look and feel and have the physical weight of reality, which is, it's a frontier that was ventured into, but Avatar, to its credit, does maintain the illusion through the entire thing. And so that, just the interaction of the characters and everything, I'll be honest, it's a difficult question for me to answer fairly, because it's not that I think in terms of a post-Avatar world too much. I think it is just something where it's just that creating that reality. I mean, the thing is, I've come to appreciate a different aspect of the technology more because I've ridden the ride, Flight of Passage at Disney World, and that's an incredible ride. That's absolutely everything about the technology that was kind of promised by Avatar's release. Is like it even has smell-o-vision worked into it, and it's pretty crazy. I unashamedly admit that on the ride, I actually cried the first time I was on it because I couldn't believe the technology I was experiencing. Like, it was so convincing. So probably if I think of post-Avatar world, my mind gravitates more toward the ride and the created environment.
Unexpected answer. Okay. Darren, what about you? Same question.
Yeah, I definitely think of, the blue screened room with the, this little 2x4 of wood with a couple of poles sticking off of it with dots. That's the camera, and I'm gonna wield it around. And I mean, we've talked before about James Cameron and his just insatiable push to move forward filmmaking technology. And now, I mean, it feels like only now with the latest batch of Marvel movies and Snyderverse and all these other things, like we're definitely reveling in that post-Avatar world where we're just those other films are now catching up to what Avatar was, that it laid the groundwork for. But yeah, the biggest compliment I could give it with rewatching it is pretty quickly I just forgot I was watching a completely CG event. Like the way that it just comes across in the landscapes and the world you're in, it feels real. And I mean, yes, there's a part of you that knows, okay, like blue aliens and all this alien, like obviously it's fiction, but there's, it's so beautifully rendered and crystal clear on a level that it is breathtaking. It's so immersive. And I think that immersion, that is the real legacy of these immersive worlds that we can put our characters in, whether they're Marvel or Star Wars or whatever it ends up being. And yeah, you probably can't name a film that was a heavy blockbuster effects movie post 2009 that wasn't impacted by this tech in some way or another.
Absolutely, and I think I'm much more in line with you, Darren, in that kind of thinking. Like when I think post Avatar world, I think about all of the CGI characters that we even got, that we got like with Caesar, with Planet of the Apes, and K2SO even with Rogue One. Like these types of CGI characters in their form that they were presented in would not have been possible without the progress made by James Cameron and the Avatar team. And I feel like it's very reminiscent of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Like all the effects works that they did in that still holds up today. And for a decade, people were still chasing that quality, that level of quality. And I think Darren, I think you're absolutely right about, when we look at the superhero films that are like 90% CGI, they're still trying to chase the Avatar realism. And I think that's why, like for oftentimes, like whenever I saw any kind of any kind of like behind the scenes stuff or like interviews with people who work in special effects or computer effects or visual effects and things like that, that often for like 2 years, maybe 3, I kept hearing people say, yeah, we're living in a post Avatar world, so we got to do this, we got to do X, Y, Z. And that's what I think of. Yeah.
No, I mean, I will say the one caveat to that is Avatar has the advantage of they're not humans. And so it's much easier to create this beautiful world and place your characters in them. And those characters are 12-foot tall blue aliens that are human-esque, but also kind of a little caricature-esque. And, they're real, but they don't do that with the humans. All the humans that are shot for real, because again, I don't think even Avatar had the power to push you out of the uncanny valley.
No.
So I totally agree with what you're saying, but I will say for like the Snyderverse and the really recent superhero movies, they have a harder job because not only are they trying to recreate a lot of these fully CG, like Atlantis, like anything in Atlantis is all CG, but they also have to have these human characters. And that is the trump card that we're still chasing on fully photoreal, believable, indistinguishable humans. It's a hard domino to topple.
Oh yeah, I would never compare it to to trying to make a real life human, because we have not been able to hit that yet. I feel like we've barely been able to get past, and I'm totally just making a joke and understating it, but I feel like we've barely been able to get past Matrix Reloaded with with the Neo and all the Agent Smiths running around.
The rubber Agent Smiths.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Talking about Avatar is one of those things that is always disorienting for me to this day, because I really want to be as enthusiastic about it in these discussions as others do. But when I was rewatching, and the thing is, I have rewatched this in bits very much over the last few weeks because my youngest discovered it, and she turns it on, and it's a pretty cartoon to her, and so she's just always watching it, and it's always there in the background. And to the story that you told earlier, Tristan, about your friend who's a bit of a movie snob sort of thing, it is something where I think this film is very reliant on watching it in the best possible quality or the best possible environment, right? Because as lukewarm as I was coming out of the theater, my home viewing experiences, there are movies I can watch that might not be the same, that people might come down on and be like, oh, look, it didn't match Avatar's technical prowess. But I'm more engaged with them on the smaller screens and the lesser formats than I am with Avatar. And I think that the biggest hurdle to everything is that the plot is not as robust as it should be. And I think that it actually detracts from the visuals for me because I'm just not able to engage with it on the level that it's asking.
I think that's an absolutely valid criticism. I think if you're not if you weren't jazzed by and don't take me too literal here, John, but I feel like, with you having like such a poor first experience in the theater, where it was kind of dim and the 3D didn't work. Like I had that perfect experience. And so I was jazzed right away. And so I was able to kind of chase that feeling. I was able to perpetually chase that feeling. And I started off on a high point. And so I've definitely gone down over the years because of analyzing the plot. The dialogue's not great because it's written by Cameron again, of course. And, some of the performances are pretty wooden, and we'll get into that. But I'm able to forgive that because of all these high technical achievements and me starting at such a high place with the presentation that I saw. And if I saw it at a crappy place, like at a dim, it would be harder for me to kind of chase that, and it would be harder to forgive all that stuff. Again, John, I'm not saying that that you didn't you missed the boat or anything like that. It's just I'm kind of to explain how, like, I started at a much higher place and went down just a little bit over the years. You started at a medium place and went down over the years. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think, to get back to what I was saying earlier as well, I do think that the experience of the ride at Disney World is so good that that's what I'm chasing, and the movie can't match it. And the thing is, the ride, you don't have to worry about plot. It's just an experience. And I think that is the sort of thing where I think that ride gave me the experience that everybody else feels that they got with the movie itself. And so that's why I have this weird juxtaposition where one has supplanted the other, and I care more about one than the other, sort of thing. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Well, I feel like this is the epitome of what Scorsese was talking about with superhero, like comic book movies. Like when he said, he's like, it's not cinema, it's a theme park ride, or it's a roller coaster, something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but with Avatar, I kind of agree with that. Like this is an IMAX experience. Like this feels like the old style IMAX movies that you would go see, like when you'd go see a launch, or like a space movie, or an underwater movie, or like not movie, but like a documentary, something like that, or even in 3D, where you'd see it at the Science Museum, and no one would complain about the plot with that. Now, again, like, I'm not trying to put Avatar down, but this type of movie, it's technology first, plot second. And I feel like, and oftentimes I've brought up on this show a lot of times with James Cameron films, is that when things get nominated for Oscars, like when Avatar is nominated for Oscars, Terminator 2 is nominated for Oscars, and like other things are nominated, like other like sci-fi movies are nominated for like technical Oscars and things like that. It's because the Oscars are about, pushing the bounds of art and technology, and this is one that really focused on technology.
Wasn't Avatar nominated for Best Picture?
I think so. Yeah.
And who did it lose to that year? Didn't he lose to Hurt Locker for
Oh,
Best Picture that year?
Was that the year that he
Yeah.
lost to his ex-wife?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the year he lost to his ex-wife. Yes. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Oh man, I think I remember. I think Darren's looking it up right now.
But even that, if Avatar is nominated for Best Picture, that's the sort of makes me want to kick a hole in the wall sort of moment where it's like The Dark Knight doesn't get nominated, but Avatar did. Like it felt like an injustice, sort of moment.
But why did that feel like an injustice to you?
Because I think The Dark Knight is legitimately one of those precious gem movies that was basically worthy of that sort of global recognition and in contention, whereas Avatar, I think, was something that could win all of the technical awards, but doesn't check off every box that I see as being nominated in the same sort of elite category that you would put a Hurt Locker or a Godfather Part 2. Although, to be fair, Godfather Part 3, I believe, was also nominated for Best Picture. So, hey, give or take. But like, it's one of those things where I'm overstating it to make a point. I'm not actually angry that it got nominated, but it's one of those things where it just reinforced over time a belief that I'd had well before that, where it's like the Best Picture nominations didn't make sense to me anymore. It was like it's all a political campaign sort of thing.
Well, I mean, and that's where I sweep in and kind of reassert what I just stated. Like it's right. The Oscars is about the arts and technical aspects of filmmaking, and if something is so far beyond in the technical aspects, then it deserves to be nominated, in my opinion, even if it doesn't check that box of art.
Who wasn't nominated that year? Because this is 2009, which was the year they changed it to 10 nominations.
Oh, that's
for
right.
Best Picture.
That's right. You're right.
So, so not only did it lose to Hurt Locker, it was also nominated along with The Blind Side, District 9, and Education, and Glorious Bastard, Precious, A Serious Man,
okay.
Up and Up in the Air. So, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep. Makes sense now. All right.
Side note, speaking of CGI, if any of our listeners haven't watched District 9, go watch District 9, because that has some of the best CGI and human integration ever.
Or Chappie. Same guy, Chappie.
Yeah. Like it's fantastic. Like that's some of the things that's one technical aspect that I was kind of disappointed in with Avatar, is the CGI and human real live footage integration was a little poor, but District 9, perfect, seamless, beautiful. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's talk about, let's go ahead and move on. Like I've ranted enough about how great the technology is and everything like that, but I want to talk about plot and characters. Now, it has become fashionable over the years to diss this film and call it unremarkable. Because
Pocahontas,
I feel like
Pocahontas in Space, Dances with Wolves,
Smurfs, Fern Gully, everything. Like this story is not new. It's practically Shakespearean. It's been done
as Cameron.
Yeah, it's been done so many times. It's practically a classic. And I don't see that as a knock. I don't see it as original either. Like, I'm not trying to say that like its story is unheralded or anything like that. But it's like with a lot of Cameron films and with a lot of films that are number one, people are excited for them, and then a couple years goes by, and then you hate it, and then it becomes fashionable to hate it, then it comes around again and becomes hipster to like it, and then you kind of go through those cycles. Kind of like Titanic did the same thing, like where it was fine to like it, and then you were like, oh, you like Titanic, you're a teenage girl that if you like Titanic, and just things like that. Same things happen with Avatar, and now that
you happen to like Titanic, the highest grossing movie of all time, like of course you like it because everybody likes it. It made so much money, but yeah.
And now with all Avatar 2 coming out sometime, the jokes are just so plentiful when it comes to that. It's brought it back into the consciousness. And so I've seen so many times, I don't know why people think this is a real thought. People are like, name one character's name from Avatar. And you can't do it because it's unremarkable. You can't remember it and everything like that. Let's talk about the characters. So Darren, did you like the characterizations done in Avatar? Did you think they were believable? Were they archetypes? Were they too cartoony? Like, was it weird that that mainly only people of color played the Na'vi, and just mainly white people played the sky people? Was it too on the nose? I'm asking a lot of questions, but what did you think about their characterization in this film?
I mean, I definitely do see what people are saying. It's hard to talk about characters and also not about the plot, because like you could say in a regards, a lot of the military characters are very militaristic, like they're very one note. I mean, I love Lang as, the commander, captain, whatever he is, but
Colonel.
the colonel, I knew it began with a C, as the colonel, and he is great. I mean, he's very much that role. He's done that exact same role in many other things. But like I think Terra Nova, he did like pretty much the exact same
same character. I saw that too. Exact same character.
But I will. So yes, is it very one note? As like you can definitely see the scientists want to work with the people and the military just wants to blow them up. Like, I'm not saying it's winning any awards for the depth of the story, but I will say at the it's still, watching it again, I still cared about those moments when there's tragedy befalling the Na'vi. Like, at the end of the day, it still connected with me. But I would also say that I felt it wasn't, I don't think Sigourney Weaver was given enough to do. She's kind of almost a third level character, really, and just kind of like she had Bill Paxton level of of screen time, but she kind of should have had more than that. And I'm hoping we'll see her in the second one. I think they could find a way to make it happen. She's in the collective consciousness of the trees. So
she signed up for the second one. So they have to be doing something.
So I don't know if they're doing, what they're going to do. Because technically, I mean, not that we're talking about Avatar 2, but technically all the gear is still there that they could make new Avatar clones. But I don't know. I mean, I liked her character. I liked her character more when she was Avatar than when she was just Grace the scientist. The where's my cigarette? Yes. I don't know. They just didn't give her a lot to do, and I would have liked more than that. But yeah, Jake Sully and
Jake Sully.
I do enjoy the characters overall, but yeah, again, it's hard to pull the characters themselves apart from the overall plot that they're stuck in, which is, not the deepest thing in the world.
John, what about you?
I mean, I thought it was the characters were unremarkable, honestly. The technology is there. I thought there were some good performances actually among the Na'vi, because there were people who in the mocap I could still feel them emoting through it, and in those painful moments, yes, it came through, it worked. But the only character I really recalled coming out of it, and the only character that really sticks with me from the movie is the Colonel, and that's just because I'm a huge Stephen Lang fan, and it's one of those things where it blew my mind. Like, I didn't realize it was him for at least half the movie, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Ike Clanton, that's right. And and it was like I just think he's one of the most, I think he's one of the most underrated actors out there working in film right now, because the guy's a chameleon. He can slide into a role, and I've seen him in a bunch of different stuff, and he always just hits the right note for me. But there were characters that I thought were also sort of lesser echoes of characters in previous Cameron films, whether it's Aliens or Terminator 2 or something like that, where I think that there was so much going on that it was admirable that Cameron was trying to juggle so many characters, but they lost a level of complexity as a result. And when he has a smaller number of characters that he's focused on, his characters are really cool. And then he just sort of diluted them out through everything, and it just I think the characterizations as a whole suffered as a result.
I can get that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really solid point. I think the characterization could have been better if it was much smaller. Like, I don't think we needed Norm Spellman, like the
I mean, you
scientist.
could see the role,
right.
the character-ish role he's portraying of
Yeah.
I've actually did the research and you're the, what is it? The intuitive savant that kind of just naturally gets it. But I had to study and I had to do the work.
Yeah.
But they kind of changed that after the first act where he.
Oh, and it's just like out of nowhere, it's just like, oh, Norm started coming around. And I'm like,
right.
Great. Okay. So there's no resolution. We saw no arc there. It was, yeah.
Right.
And
I mean, he arcs. We just arcs off camera.
yeah, yeah, there you go. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I meant. Like, yeah, there's I can't disagree with you guys whatsoever. Like you don't come to this movie for the love of plot or characters, but I do have to say that like I really love Neytiri. I love Zoe Saldana's portrayal of Neytiri. I really do, and I like Jake only when Jake is with Neytiri. Like I like the two of them together. I can't stand human Jake, like Sam Worthington Jake. I just no, I don't care. Stephen Lang, I think, is a great bad guy, great antagonist. And Darren, I absolutely agree with you about Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney Weaver is a good actress, but for some reason, she just did not bring it.
Yeah,
because I feel like she didn't
I don't
have
think
enough.
She had anything to do.
Yeah, and just like her opening line, like "Where is my cigarette?" and everything like that. It's just like, oh my god, that was delivered so horribly.
I was getting a lot of Aliens vibes, like in the moment where like before the aliens attack and we're just seeing the natural life of the Weyland-Yutani colony. Like it's very similar to like, we're just chilling here and we're on this alien planet. It's a lot brighter, that's for sure. But it had a lot of parallels there.
Yeah, it's just I didn't really like the human characters, and it's not just because you're not supposed to, like, so a lot of them are the antagonists. It's like, no, I just didn't like it didn't feel like the human characters really knew what movie they were in. I think it really shocked me because like Giovanna Ribisi, again, a good actor, but gives some really cartoony lines, and Michelle Rodriguez is just terrible. I mean, in everything,
Yes.
but like,
well,
not
she hadn't
everything.
found her family so that they could
right.
drive their way.
I was going to say not everything, but I think it gets to the one note thing. I think it also gets to I think it's because these characters are so clumsy that it doesn't help the actors and actresses get where they need to go. And I think maybe you also wind up seeing a limitation of what these actors could handle in the blue box. Because that's always going to be a challenge, that they're not in an environment at certain points. And so not every actor rises to that level of being able to, create the reality that they need out of, the nothingness. And you can sort of mask over that a bit when you have a large number of animated blue cat people everywhere. But it's not as easy to mask when you have, let me take an example here. When they have people out in the environment with the bulldozers or whatever walking through, or they're hanging on the side of the ships at the big battle and everything, that's where I see that sort of disconnect of they don't really know what's going on around them. Or even when they're getting marched off.
They're shot in the middle of a blue box, and then that is going to be scaled and placed on top of the carrier, but they're not feeling like they're there.
Right. But then you have a scene like when Stephen Lang is addressing the group of everybody and they're in a set environment and everybody's together. You can feel a different energy there of, okay, everybody has a sense of where they are, who they are, what type of cartoonish characterization of the military they're playing, and and that sort of thing. And that's why I think those, but it's still, when you're in the command center, I don't know why that doesn't click better. It feels like it should click better. I don't know if it's because Ribisi didn't want to come across as too villainous.
Because he does, like, Cameron tries to sneak in some sort of arc, like the laziest arc with Ribsy, where he's like, where it's just his facial expressions. Where
he just looks like, sad, like, I'm kind of regretting what I'm doing. But like, are you?
But it's almost like Ribisi is robbed. The character is created maybe in the early drafts with an idea of, again, talking back to characters we're bringing back from previous, Cameron films. Maybe there's a little bit more Burke about him. But then they get there, and
Burke was better done than Ribisi, for sure. But almost the same kind of role.
But maybe it's because they were afraid that they'd get called out if they just had Burke all over again. And so it was like, okay, well, we have to do something to make him a little different here, a little less Weasley or something.
Yeah, Cameron definitely needed someone to come in and do punch up. Like, he absolutely needed someone to come in and do punch up with the dialogue, because I feel like so much of this could have been fixed. So much of the characterization could have been fixed if you could sell the dialogue better. And I know it takes a great actor to sell bad dialogue, but sometimes bad dialogue is just bad dialogue. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, like, about the whole blue box thing, if you look at the people who did the absolute best performances of the film, you have Stephen Lang, CCH Pounder, and Wes Studi.
Yep.
All three of those people are the older actors of the cast and also the ones who have the most theater credits.
Good
and
point.
I always like, whenever I see whenever I see an actor who has a big theater credit or is a little older, and they're in a CGI movie or in a mocap movie, it makes sense to me, because they have to use their imagination in that blue box, just like you have to use your imagination when you're on a bare stage.
Yes.
And those are my favorite performances, like specifically Wes Studi and CCH Pounder. Like, I loved Moat and Atukan. I love them as actors, and I love them as characters, and I wanted to see more of them. I absolutely wanted to see more of them, less of the humans and more of them. And I feel like if they were given more to do, it would have elevated the movie, just because they're so fantastic. And I feel like Sigourney Weaver needed more to do, just so that she would have an excuse to bring it. But yeah, like, I am, even though I love this movie, I can't fool myself into thinking that the characterization is great. Now, Darren, you talked about, not being able to separate plot from characters and everything like that. Is there anything about the plot that really gripes you? Is there anything about the plot that you think just works? Is it such a classical tale that it works, it's just unimaginative? Or is there something where you're just like, why is this working? Why is this not working? What are you thinking?
Yeah, like I was saying, I mean, I think Lang, as the Colonel, is the best example, where great performance. I mean, he's given 110% into this role, but that can't push it past the fact that it's the military minded. I mean, the lines he's given are, hey, they're amassing thousands of people and they're going to run our position, so we have to attack first. Yeah, but dude, you totally just attacked their home. And so it's devoid of the actual plot, and it's like, he's written as the bad guy. He's literally wearing the black hat, and so we don't get a lot of development there or anything like that. And I think there's been other Cameron movies with better, like Coffee, from the Abyss, where you see their descent into madness. We never saw that with Colonel. And so we're robbed of that characterization, and instead we just get, and so that's where it connects with the overall plot of the film being, sky people bad, they come and they take the resources. Like, that is all so done that it never tried to flex beyond that. And that, I think, is a little to its detriment. Does it not still make it a fun film? No, but we all can see the forest through those trees, that's what it is. And that's how it comes across. We're never ever supposed to feel sympathetic for the Colonel. I don't think there's any moment we're supposed to have where we feel sorry for him at all. He is literally the bad guy. But that's why it's so much more interesting when we're spending time with the Na'vi and we're seeing our protagonists go through those struggles of, I was this, and again, it's the stereotypical, I didn't tell the full truth when I met you, and now I have to tell the truth, and oh no. And, again, it's not new Shakespeare, but it works, and they play it really well. I do also, I would count Sam Worthington's performance, because again, he spends as a Navi character. I think he does just as well as Zoe, and in portraying, this movie was really the first one where they got that facial emotion right. Like, I think that's honestly Avatar's biggest achievement, beyond the fact of the incredible world and the photo reel and all of that. If they had dead eyes, if they didn't emote through what they were able to physically capture, I don't think this movie would have worked. But it does. Like, I watched, Jake Sully Avatar, and I can tell what emotions he's feeling. I can tell his thought process, I can tell when he's conflicted. I can tell when he's happy. And that's all in the face. That's all coming from that. And that's because it's captured from an actual actor. And I'm sure, a tiny bit enhanced and animated, as all these movies are. But that, I think, is the greatest achievement, is that really comes across in this movie.
Now, John, you've talked about how underwhelmed you have been with each progressive viewing. What about the plot? Specifically the plot, not even like wooden characters or like unremarkable characters that you've talked about. But what about the plot doesn't work for you? Like, besides the whole, it's been done before, it's Ferngully space and everything like that. But like, what about the plot specifically didn't land upon your most latest viewing?
There's absolutely no surprise about it. I have all sorts of respect. You can do the same story a billion times over, and it can be wonderful all billion times. There's a reason we all rewatch movies that work, is because they work, is because even though we know each beat that's coming, it still gives us that little thrill, that little turn, that little twist. This movie doesn't have that. There's no sort of surprise about what's going to happen. And I know that there can be people that can take issue with me phrasing it that way or whatever, but what I mean is that just one little tiny anything that I wasn't expecting to happen. It's almost as if I sat down and in the first 10 minutes I said, okay, all right, I know exactly where we're going to end with this. And then it just keeps going. And that then makes me fidgety because, oh no, this is 2 hours and 41 minutes. That's a little bit much to ask when I've already figured out every beat along the way. You've got to give me something that, to use a phrase that I've hated ever since they use it in the hype up for The Force Awakens, surprise and delight. And if this movie is shorter,
subvert expectations.
Oh, hey, no, let's not go there.
No, that's Last Jedi.
There's
another one.
If there is a way to make this movie take less time to get there, I'm exponentially more forgiving of that. But it's the fact that we clock in so long, it taxes my patience. And so I just wind up disengaging because okay. And I think that's where it also plays in, where the technology becomes such an obsession and such a push that when people see it on screen, even when they're developing the technology and they're in the weeds with that, whether it's, covertly working with ILM or using his own people or all of the different effects houses and everything that goes in there, then when you see it on the screen, you're like, wow, this is amazing. This is totally immersive. And it might blind you to the fact that you have a running time that's asking a little much, and you need to just pull back on that so that the expected storyline is less of an ask for those of us who might be impatient with it.
So I want to move on to I want to end on a positive note. I want to talk about things that we liked about the movie, not just the technical aspects or things that obviously were a win. I want to talk about moments that we think about and smile with Avatar. You know, because even if you weren't fully engaged or you know, thought it was a 5-star film, there's got to be moments where you're just like, hey, that was really cool, that was really entertaining, or that was a well done sequence. You know, what are one of just some of those moments, or one of those moments? Darren, what are you thinking of when I ask that question?
Again, I think, gosh, I mean, there's the two big moments of the peak of emotion where you have like the felling of the great tree, and you're ratcheting it up, and you have the the betrayal, and you just, again, yeah, I think you nailed it where you said, pronouncing Navi names is so tricky, but you had the Yucatan, no, not
Tucan.
Tucan, and Moat. They're just bringing it in that moment of despair as their tree is destroyed by the Sky People. And yeah, I mean, there are obvious parallels to our history and destruction of Native American land and peoples, and I feel that they were able to bring that same emotion even with a fictional space blue people. Like they invested the time to invest you in that culture and those people, so you felt that same reaction from that moment. And then again, I think that mirrors the elation of the battle, the final cinematic battle, when they're finally getting their comeuppance. But yeah, that I'm still thinking, I can still hear that musical motif, that like da 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 da, where it's just the lament as they're just devastated by this destruction. And I applaud Cameron for, I think, pulling off that emotional moment.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm with you on that one. That was a great moment. John, same question.
Well, I agree about that moment. I think it's one of the best moments in the film, hands down. There's an earlier moment that I still like, that I still think works really well, and it's when they're going through the jungle forest for the first time, and he touches that flower and it retracts, revealing the beastie behind it, and they're all saying, "Don't move." And there's actually an effective tension in that scene where it relays, it works well, where the tumblers all line up, and that scene works very well. And then it actually has a nice moment where then the beast runs off, and he thinks it's because of him, and then it's the giant panther creature thing that jumps. And I think that scene works extremely well.
Kind of welcome to Pandora.
Right. And I think that, yeah, I mean, that's the scene that jumps out, and the scene that Darren talked about. Those are the two scenes that jump out to me with this film.
Darren, you mentioned some musical cues. There was more than a few times I heard a little Wrath of Khan in the background.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes,
and that definitely made me smile.
If only the Sky People had used 3-dimensional thinking.
For me, I mean,
just
like,
nuke the site from orbit. Like that would have solved the problem. But,
that's the only way to be sure.
The ultimate high ground.
For me, I mean, like, I like this movie, and I think there's a lot of moments that work for me. One thing that always makes me smile, but this isn't really my answer, is that the obvious was supposed to be in 3D shots. Those always make me laugh. Like when he's running for the first time in his avatar body and he's kicking the dirt behind him towards the camera, or like when he's on the carrier and like he flips open the grenade pins and flicks them towards the camera. Like there's so many times that I'm like, man, that would have been cool in 3D.
That's in the trailer for sure. Now in 3D, flip.
For me, I think it's the little moments of Neytiri and Jake, and I really love the characterization that Neytiri does. Like that moment's like when Moat tells her that she's going to be the one teaching Jake the ways, and she's just like, and she just like stomps her foot, and like I've seen that so many times in my own family, and just like moments like that, like when he passes out, like when he's taken out of the avatar and his body just falls, and Tsute wants to kill him, and Neytiri knocks him down, and then like pulls out her knife and then like hisses like, like protects her man. Like I love those, and she does it twice. I love those moments. I think that's what really makes me smile. And yes, I love that his handprint is on her chest during the final battle, and it's 5 fingers. I I absolutely love that, and it makes me wonder: are their kids going to have 5 fingers or not? Like that's what I want. That's my question for Avatar 2.
I will say one other tiny moment I always loved, because it just shows how much of a badass Lang is when they're escaping with their copter, and he's just like, I'm not wearing a mask, I don't care. He's just like, masks, kicks open the door, holds his breath, walks out, unloads like 2 clips at them, and then the guy runs up to him like, sir, you forgot your mask, and he just puts it on, takes a breath, and it's just like, he's like, I don't care, I'm going to shoot at you with rocks if that's what I have on hand. I'm so upset at this moment. I love that moment.
That's a good moment.
Whenever my wife and I, like, if Avatar comes up in conversation, we will say Pandora like Stephen Lang, which is like a Pandora. That's the only way to pronounce it.
Well, that when we get out of the car, if we have to go to the, inside during the pandemic, I just say masks, and no, I'm just kidding. I don't do that.
All right. Okay. So we've talked about it. We've discussed what works, what doesn't. I am aching to know your guys' ratings. Darren, I'm going to go with you first.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 4 mystery trees of Pandora. No, I think for everything we've said, I mean, visually, technologically, impact, box office. I mean, this movie was just a powerhouse. But yeah, for the overall plot, for the fact that, again, I haven't watched it a lot. It didn't have that. Maybe I need to go rent an IMAX screen to fully experience it in the true artiste vision or something like that. But did I enjoy it watching it again? I did. I really did. I went back to Pandora, and I literally caught about 2/3 through the movie, caught myself feeling like I have not thought about the fact that this is fully CGI for probably about an hour. It's just washing over me, and it didn't detract from my experience at all. And I was just enjoying this movie and the visuals and the story and the people, and just, it's escapism. And it was a movie. It was everything a movie should be. And glad it I wonder what executive now was like, hey Bob, if we re-release Avatar, do you think we can get back the #1 title? It's now with or were people joking that Endgame should re-release or something to try to ladder up to be the #1? But
and Disney is just raking in the cash.
I know Disney doesn't care. They're like, oh yeah, you should despite Marvel, you should go watch Avatar. And it's like, we're the same company, But yeah, so 4. I give it a 4. Rounding out, so the last 3 of Cameron's films, I give a 4. But I am excited for Avatar 2. It did make me excited for the sequel, and I feel like now that we've created the world, and I know we'll do more world building and wherever we go, but I want to see more story. Come on, James, give us more story, give us more moments, give John some plot surprises, please. But I won't say when that movie's coming out, because we all know better than to put a date on it at this point.
All right, John, what about you?
Just to address that point first, I have maintained for some time now that James Cameron may be engaged in the greatest work of performance art in history, because he's convinced some people that he's making a movie, and he could just be raking in cash and just screwing around and having fun. No, push it off another year.
Wait, are you saying Avatar sequels are the greatest Ponzi scheme like ever, or something like that?
Something like that. I would respect that, actually, if like Cameron, it finally gets to the point where they're like, you got to release it. And he's just like, look, I got some footage that I shot, and it's really just a joke.
It's all previs. It looks like 720p previs with no joint manipulation.
That's right.
Guys, here it is. and then it's like, today James Cameron left the country to a non-extradition country.
Yes.
And we don't know where he went.
But that aside, I give this film 2 blocks of unobtainium. And
2 blocks.
2. I'm sorry. There are just so many things that just it didn't overcome for me, and this is maybe the 4th time I've seen it. I've seen it at least 3 times. I saw it in the theater. I saw it this time, and I saw it at when I went on a trip a couple of years ago. I was like, you know what? I'm going to have Avatar another shake, and it's one of those things where, again, pretty much all 2 of those stars are for the respect I have for all the technical achievement, but it just can't overcome the things I don't like about it.
Well, I can't wait for you to watch Avatar 2 and it turned out to be an Andy Kaufman film or something like that. So
that would be great.
All right. Well, it's no surprise that, as I've said many times, I really like this movie. I watch it often, actually. Like I pop this one in my Blu-ray player quite a bit. I really do. I enjoy watching this. I find it very entertaining. Like Darren was saying, it's entertaining. It's what a movie should be. It's escapism. This is a popcorn film to me. Like I'm not trying to read into it too deeply. Like this is one of those movies where I admit, like, yeah, no, the characterizations are often wooden. The plot is not new. John, I think you're right. There aren't really many surprises. It's just kind of progresses the way that you think it's going to progress. And for me, in this particular instance, that is 100% okay, because I'm just wowed by so many aspects of it. And I'm rating this the same as Titanic, even though I like it way more than Titanic. I'm giving it 4 freaking daisy cutters. That's what I'm giving it. And I wanted to give it more. I wanted to give it like 4.5. But honestly, like, like with the technical aspects, like they work so well. And with it being such an enjoyable, entertaining movie for me, it's just to say that, like, oh yeah, if you ignore the plot and wooden characters, yeah, it's a 4-star film. Like it's 4.5, it's 5 stars, something like that. It's a little disingenuous. So I have to give it 4 stars for all of that of what I said. So I'm super excited about what we're going to be doing moving forward with Houselights, because we were all talking amongst ourselves, and like, John and I were talking, and what are we going to do next? Are we done with the show? Do we move on to a different director? We've gotten a lot of emails from you guys saying like, hey, like, are you going to tackle Spielberg? Are you going to tackle Ridley Scott? Are you going to tackle Francis Ford Coppola? And everything like that. And we've all been really trying to figure out a way to do it, because we're like, oh yeah, we'd love to do some Spielberg, but holy crap, this would become a Spielberg show for like a year.
Yes.
And we didn't want to do that, even though we love, some of these directors. They have such long careers. Like if you look at who we started with, Fincher, Nolan, Anderson, and then Cameron, they all have smaller filmographies. Like they're all really influential in great films, but it's smaller filmographies. You go to somebody like Spielberg and holy crap, it's just so many movies. And we don't want this to be the Spielberg show. So what we're going to do next is going to start cutting up certain larger directors by decades. And I'm really excited about this. And so next we're doing Francis Ford Coppola in the 1970s. And this is just such an amazing time to be doing this, because we're going to have Godfather Part 2, The Conversation, and then Apocalypse Now. Am I getting that order right? I think that's the right order.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. And Darren, you've had such a great time with us doing Cameron, and we've had such a great time with you talking about Cameron, that you're actually going to join us for Francis Ford Coppola in the 70s.
I am, and it's going to be fun because I haven't seen any of those films.
And that blows my friggin' mind.
My brain oozes out of my ears when I hear that statement. I can't even process that.
So you're going to get first-time viewer Darren watching Godfather.
Oh my God, I don't even know what that's like. I haven't met anyone who hasn't seen The Godfather.
I mean, some people say I failed as a film student, but no. No, it just never. I mean, yeah. Do I know The Godfather is an amazing movie and everybody loves it? Yes. Do have I never ever felt the desire and the moment to watch it? Hasn't come up yet, but now we have a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, and the thing is, what I'm going to be very interested in is these. We are definitely wading into the territory where the reputations of these films are so outsized that I consider it's going to be really interesting to get the take on somebody who's been immersed in what the culture has thought about these films for decades,
Right.
coming at them with a fresh set of eyes. Like, that's always a weird and potentially just disorienting sort of experience. So I think that's really, really cool. And just to address anybody who might be listening, he only wrote Patton, so it's not his film. That's why we're not doing it on this.
Right. I have seen Patton.
Right. No,
but
I know that there are people out there that might be saying, like I would say, for instance, well, he wrote Patton and he won an Oscar for it. Yeah, but we're just dealing with the stuff that he directed.
Yeah, just directorial works and everything like that. So as you guys are listening to this, and I hope you're excited about Coppola in the 70s, please send us more emails and let us know who you want us to tackle. And even say, like, if it's a larger director, or I should say a director with a larger filmography, give us a decade suggestion too. Do you want us to talk about Spielberg in the 80s? Or, Ridley Scott in the 90s, or, whatever, something like that. Let us know. And you can let us know by going to thenerdparty.com/contact. Select Houselights from the menu, fill out the form. It'll send us an email, or you can find us on social media. Go to facebook.com/thenerdparty, Instagram/thenerdparty, or find us on Twitter @joinnerdparty. Please check us out and find us. You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd @theinsane_Robin. Darren, where can we find you?
They can find me on drsci-fi.com. They can also listen to me here on the network doing a wonderful rendition of Star Trek Beyond the Stars. No, talking about Star Trek every week on City Alpha 3 with my two co-hosts.
John.
Well, you can find me right here on the network co-hosting Aggressive Negotiations, a Star Wars podcast. And you can also find me out there on social media as Kessel Junkie, KESSELJUNKIE.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for listening and for being with us. Make sure to subscribe. Tell your friends about our show. And as we close the door to the House of Cameron, we are now opening a new one with Francis Ford Coppola. See you next week.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.